morning. My name's Simone Colpitts, and today I'm going to do some activities with you about growth mindset. You might not have heard of growth mindsets before, but by the end of the session, I hope that you'll all be in a growth mindset phase and you'll be able to recognise the growth mindsets within your own thinking and possible ways to even improve your growth mindset. What growth mindset does, it helps to promote resilience and independence and the power of I can't do it yet. So before I talk about it in lots and lots of detail, I'm going to give you an activity to complete. And the activity sort of highlights the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So if I could ask you all just to take the scenario from the desk and have a look at it. Right, what I want you to do is the scenario is about a girl called Suki. So you've got to put your mind in the perspective of a parent. So if you have a look at the scenario, it's all about Suki in a gymnastics competition. Then once you've read it, if you turn over the page, you'll see some possible answers or feedback that you could give to Suki after the competition. You might decide that you like one of the answers and you want to go with that, or you might decide that the answers aren't really what you would say and you might choose to do something different. But I will ask you all which answer you've selected, and you've got to justify your answer. And just before we begin, what I really want to let you know is all of these activities are based around a lady called Carol Dweck. And Carol Dweck and her colleagues researched growth mindsets, and they discovered the power of growth mindset to reinforce resilience, which is one of the key aspects of the program that you're studying. So this activity should take no longer than 5 minutes. So what I would like you to do is, if you start now, read the scenario, have a look at the answers. When you're done, if your colleague next to you is finished, if you want to discuss your choice with them, and then we'll pull it all together. So we've got 5 minutes starting from now.
Oh, I don't have anything extra. I would most probably go for 4 actually.
Right, okay.
Yeah, same.
Right, so should we have a straw poll as to what everyone thinks? Is everyone quite happy to move on to the sort of which answer you would select? Have you selected one in your mind, or an alternative? Right, okay. So the first one, just to go over the activity, Suki's been in a gymnastics competition. She thought she would win, but she didn't win. Her results weren't terrible. They were about halfway, you know, in each of the different categories. But she comes home absolutely devastated. Then, as parents, you've got to give her some feedback that'll, you know, that you think will be appropriate to her situation. So, the first lot of feedback, that one possible response is, tell her you thought she was the best. Did anybody select that? Right. Can I ask you why you wouldn't have selected that one?
Because it wouldn't make her feel like she needed to improve. She'd continue on thinking that she was the best.
Okay.
And that sort of thing.
Right. Okay. Has anyone else got a reason why they wouldn't select number one?
Maybe it's because you might be thinking that you tell her she did the best, but she might think that you're just saying that because you're like there for her.
Yes. Yes. Anyone else got another response? For me, I wouldn't tell her that she was the best because on that particular day, she wasn't, and it wasn't the truth. And I don't know what you think of my response to that.
I don't think it's what she'd want to hear either. She wouldn't particularly believe what you were saying if she didn't win. So,
Yes. And it would just sort of invalidate what you were going to say. Right. The next response is, tell her that she was robbed. Did anyone select that particular response?
No.
Right, okay. Can I have someone who hasn't spoken? Could you tell me why you didn't select that one?
Probably because like it's kind of like getting her like hopes up, saying she's got robbed because like the results are the results at the end of the day.
Yes. And so by telling us she was robbed, do you think that would have been a lie to her, or it would have been misleading?
Misleading.
Yes. Okay. The third one, reassure her that gymnastics is not that important. Did anyone select that one?
No.
Right, okay. You see what I'm going to do here? Could you tell me why you wouldn't have selected that one?
Because that might be just what you think and it's not what she thinks. So it would really put her down even more.
Yes.
Plus, I would encourage a child to just give up every chance she gets, not continue to improve or see if she can do better next time.
Yeah, I think they're really good answers. I mean, for me, it would be a bit like gymnastics could be the most important thing in her life, and to say that it's not that important would really devalue that. And I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't think that would be a very positive thing for anyone to hear.
It would really make all that practice and preparation not worthwhile by saying that.
Yes, you've summed it up really clearly. You're exactly right. So, number 4. Tell us she has the ability and will surely win next time. Did anyone pick that?
Yeah, I picked that.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'll do is could I ask you why you picked that one?
I picked that one because it says that he's saying that he got the ability to, if you practice enough, you'll probably win next time. So he's trying to encourage her to practice a lot more, so she has a better chance of getting a higher score next time.
Yes. Okay, other people who said yes, what is your reason?
Well, mainly because she was okay, she was decent, but she wasn't brilliant, but she's going to learn from her mistakes for next time.
That's
And
right.
she'll probably do even better.
Yes, right. And what about yourself?
Well, I chose because there's always room for improvement. Never go back on what you do not want to do. If you can win it next time, you can do it. You just put your mind to it.
Yes. Out of the 3 remaining people, did you choose this one, or did you choose another one you thought of yourselves?
I chose 4 because even though the parents being blunt and truthful towards a child, it's the perfect motivation for her to improve and somehow increase her chances
Mhm.
of winning next time.
Okay. Did you choose 4 or did you
Yeah.
choose right? And what was your reason why?
It's kind of the same as his, just like it's like enough to keep her motivated to do what she wants to do.
Right. And what about yourself?
I chose 4 as well because it really just builds her confidence up for the next time.
Yes. Okay. Finally, I'm guessing no one chose number 5. And number 5 was tell her that she didn't deserve to win. And actually, number 5 is sort of the right answer. I've written it in a very brutal way, but the reason is that she didn't practice enough. Obviously, if you said something like that to a young person, it possibly would not be the most positive thing to say, but she didn't practice enough. So I think what you've all described is actually the right answer, because what you've done is you've told her that she's had the ability, and you've told her that she would, with practice she would improve. Where it didn't go right is you can't guarantee the fact that she would win the next time. So what's happened is you've all actually given you would all give Suki some very, very positive feedback in a growth mindset way. So for example, if someone was in a fixed mindset, they would say, well, I haven't won the competition, I haven't done very well, so that means I haven't got the ability and I'm never going to do it ever again. As someone who has a growth mindset, what do you think they would say?
The opposite of not doing it.
Yes.
What the parent said. I mean,
Yeah.
if she says that she didn't deserve to win, then it would either break her or encourage her to
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I've got to say that particular statement I've written in a very, very blunt way. I don't think that would be, personally speaking, I don't think that would be extremely beneficial to give to someone as cold as that. But it is the truth, and it's important people hear the truth. But what needs to be put onto the end of that statement is something along the lines of, if you practice every night, when you go into the next competition, you might not win, but I'm positive you'll have beaten you might have beaten your score, from the previous time with lots of practice and lots of effort. So it goes a little bit like this when you see Olympic swimmers, after a particular competition, some of them might not have won, but when they come out of the pool, when they're being interviewed, sort of the commentator would say something like, how do you feel about that? And they say, I had a great race, I beat my personal best. So sort of maybe setting your own targets and making them realistic, and focusing on your personal best and seeing each time if you can get better than your personal best is a much more of a growth mindset approach to life than sort of going for it and then maybe being defeated by it all. But also, like you've all said, sort of the never give up, and the practice element is really, really important within a growth mindset philosophy.
Also, you'd probably see them say, he or she was clearly the better swimmer. He or she deserved to win. So he's acknowledging that they were the better swimmer, and that'll also he will also tell himself that he needs to improve. He needs to practice more and improve to someday win. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, but it's all about setting your own individual targets, and then sort of working towards them and beating them each time. But I think exactly what you've said, sort of the gentle feedback would be good and be very positive, but what you couldn't guarantee is the fact that she would win the next time, because that way it would give her false hope. But everything you've said and that statement on number 4 is good, but we'd need to tag a little bit onto the end. you know, that said you couldn't guarantee the win the next time. So, has anyone got any examples of themselves where they've been in a growth mindset situation where there's something that they didn't think they could do and now they can do it?
This course, actually.
Oh, great.
Because last year, the first time I came here, I wasn't too you know, happy with what I was doing. I was shying away from everything, really. And then after a few days and weeks, I couldn't enjoy this course, and it persuaded me and motivated me to try harder and harder every time, and that got me onto the next level.
That's a really good example. Has anybody else had an experience where they didn't think they could do something and then they managed to and overcame it? Does anybody play on Xboxes?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm going to say here? Has anybody ever reached a level on a game that you never thought you could reach?
Yes.
Plenty of times.
Right. Do you want to tell me how you did it?
Basically, just like keep sticking at it eventually, and that. I mean, you get frustrated. You might like move through your controller on the floor, and that. You might get really frustrated that you just want to smash it up, but if you just keep going, like you're just gonna like click it eventually.
That's exactly right, and that's a growth mindset because you didn't give up. So when you couldn't do it, did you? You know that you practiced. Did you do anything else?
No, not really.
You think about what sort of stuff will you do next? Like for example, right, next time I'll do this to that person. If it's like a boss battle, I'll use that against him, see if that works, sort of thing. You make strategies and plans on what you're going to do next.
Yeah, and you say that's a great example of a growth mindset because, you know, so if you don't give up, you know, you're sort of, right, I can't do that, right, what can I do? So some people might Google it, you know, some people might phone a friend, and then like yourself, think of alternative strategies, you know, to get around it, but also the practice for perfection, you know, to get there, you know, to get to the higher and higher and higher level. So that's a great example of a growth mindset. Someone who had a fixed mindset would say, well, I can't do it, that's it, I'm switching it off, it's a rubbish game, that's it, I'm walking away. You know, so that's a fixed mindset, but a person with a growth mindset's resilient. You know, they just keep going at it, and if they can't go for it, it's okay. And if they don't get it right and they fail the first time, that doesn't put them off. You know, what they do is they learn from their mistakes and then go for it. So has anyone else got an experience where maybe they've done something and they've got to do it, but they've figured it out themselves or learned from their mistakes?
Yeah, I have.
Go on, do you want to share that with me?
It was on a game called Battlefield 3.
Yeah.
It was a mission where I kept dying when I was going left.
Yes.
So I had this crazy idea of just going right.
Yeah.
And I finished it that way.
Wow, so that worked. So it's just using a strategy, not giving up and doing it that way. Sometimes people think that that's the best way to learn, you know, from your mistakes and not getting it right the first time and not giving up because you can figure it all out, you know, that way. And that's another key feature of Carol Dweck's growth mindset philosophy, you know, the power of, you know, I can't do it yet. So with the Suki scenario, going back to that, it's all about the power of I can't do it yet.